Entering school prepared to focus, pay attention, follow directions, and more. Kumon, where smart kids get smarter.
Good morning, America. This morning, volcano threat. There's trouble in paradise. New eruptions on Hawaii's Big Island, spewing out red-hot lava, ash, and toxic gas. Nearly 2,000 people forced from their homes. Plus, breaking overnight, the strongest earthquake to hit the island in more than 40 years.
Payment questions. The new reporting on the money President Trump's personal lawyer gave to porn star Stormy Daniels. Does it shed new light on the hush agreement as the president comes to the defense of his new attorney, Rudy Giuliani?
Rudy is a great guy, but he just started a day ago. He'll get his facts straight.
Plus, President Trump's speech to the NRA and who he put in the crosshairs.
An apology from a kidnapper, the woman who snatched a newborn from a hospital nearly 20 years ago. Her emotional testimony.
For that, I'm so sorry.
Her message to the teenager's birth parents and the daughter who is standing by her.
And royal wedding plans. New details about Harry and Meghan's big day, the traditions they're following, and why Meghan will not have a maid of honor.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Let's get straight to the breaking news out of Hawaii, where they are really facing a triple threat of natural disasters.
Earthquakes, volcanoes, and toxic gas. Just last night, the Big Island of Hawaii was hit by the most powerful earthquake in 40 years. All this as Kilauea volcano is erupting, bringing molten lava and dangerous sulfur dioxide gas. Look at those visuals, clearing residential neighborhoods.
And we've got some new video coming in this morning from the Hawaii Department of Defense. Look at this. It shows the lava flowing out of what's called a fissure, smoke there surrounding people's homes.
Yeah, nearly 2,000 people have been forced from their homes. And ABC's Marcy Gonzalez is right there on the Big Island with the very latest for this morning. Marcy, good morning to you.
Paula and Dan, good morning. Since they don't know when and where the ground could open up again, the National Guard is set up, ready for the possibility of more evacuations as this area deals with aftershocks and more eruptions. Overnight, nature's fireworks show on Hawaii's Big Island. Molten rock and flames spewing into the air, glowing lava lighting up the sky and flowing into neighborhoods.
It just seems like it keeps fissuring upwards. And becoming more hazardous.
New fissures opening up after multiple earthquakes, including a 6.9 magnitude, the largest in the state since 1975. Rattling homes and nerves.
You guys all right?
Causing landslides and shutting down roads.
This isn't stopping.
The aftershocks ongoing as the flow of lava, which the U.S. Geological Survey expects to speed up in the coming days, forces at least 1,800 people to evacuate.
Just knowing that we're not going to have a house, the lava might take it. My wife is still in tears, you know.
At least 2 houses already destroyed in this community, where the ground's opening up miles from the actual volcano crater. Closer, the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park, a major tourist attraction, now closed, as that plume of thick pink smoke pours over the island, sending dangerous levels of toxic sulfur dioxide into the air, creating what officials call an immediate threat to life. And there have been no injuries. There was also no major damage from that big earthquake. The governor's declared a state of emergency here as officials say they have no idea when these eruptions could stop. Dan and Paula.
Just can't imagine the level of panic that so many residents are feeling this morning. Marcy, thank you. We do want to turn now to the new developments involving President Trump, his personal attorney, and the payment to Stormy Daniels.
There are several new headlines this morning, including a story in the New York Times that says the president may have known of the payment to the porn star months before he publicly denied it. Matt Dowd is standing by with analysis, but let's start here with ABC's Tara Palmieri, who's at the White House. Tara, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan and Paula. That's right. The White House is suffering from a real credibility crisis since Giuliani admitted that the president repaid his lawyer, Michael Cohen, for the payments made to Stormy Daniels. All along, they've been saying that he had no knowledge of the payments. And now the questions are when he knew, not if he knew. This morning, a new report raising questions about what and when President Trump knew about that six-figure payout made by his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. The New York Times, citing two people familiar with the arrangement, reporting that Mr. Trump did know about the payment several months before he denied having any knowledge of it on Air Force One.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
According to the paper, it's not clear when Trump learned of the payment. But these new denials come as Trump tries to clean up the damage made by another one of his attorneys earlier this week.
Rudy is a great guy, but he just started a day ago.
Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani dropping that bombshell on Fox News that Trump repaid Cohen for the $130,000 hush agreement made to Daniels.
Funneled through the law firm, and the president repaid it.
The next day, Trump backed up Giuliani in a tweet. But by Friday, he did a 180 and undercut Giuliani's claims.
He's learning the subject matter. He'll get his facts straight. He's a great guy.
Even standing behind those denials on Air Force One.
You said no.
Excuse me. You go take a look at what we said.
Trump also disputed the impression Giuliani gave that the payment to Daniels was intended to primarily benefit the campaign. Something legal analysts say could have violated campaign finance laws.
Cohen made it go away. He did his job. Imagine if that came out on October 15th, 2016, in the middle of the last debate with Hillary Clinton.
The next day, Giuliani changing his tune with this statement. There is no campaign violation. The payment was made to resolve a personal and false allegation in order to protect the president's family. It would have been done in any event, whether he was candidate or not. Despite representing the president, Giuliani admitting in the same statement that he wasn't informed about when Trump knew about the Daniels payment. At the same time, Trump gearing up for a political fight against the special counsel.
I tell you, folks, we're all fighting battles, but I love fighting these battles.
At a National Rifle Association rally in Texas, the president continued to hammer away, quoting a Wall Street Journal op-ed that praised a judge who suggested Mueller was prosecuting former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort to get to Trump. The president calling the judge
really something very special. I hear from many standpoints. He's a respected person.
The president said again that he would love to sit down with Mueller, but there's been a change in legal strategy. They're now turning this into a political fight. Ahead of the midterm elections, President Trump has been identifying Robert Mueller, a registered Republican, with the Democratic Party. Dan, Paula?
Tara, thank you. So let's bring in ABC News chief political analyst Matthew Dowd, who, for a change, is with us on the set. Great to have you here.
In the flesh.
Buenos dias. It's Cinco de Mayo, so I thought I'd show up in New York City for Cinco de Mayo. It makes no sense, but I can't.
Like
Fair
the
enough.
connection,
We'll take it.
regardless, we'll take it.
Happy Cinco de Mayo
I gotta
to
find
you.
guacamole and margaritas in New York City.
Oh, we can talk about that off air. I know some spots. There's just so much to talk about here. Let me just start by a headline that we haven't even touched on yet. It comes from the Wall Street Journal this morning. It says that during the height of the 2016 campaign, President Trump's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, gained access to as much as $774,000 through a series of personal transactions, money that he apparently planned to use to fix problems for his boss. What do you make of this?
Well, there keeps erupting more and more smoke in this entire investigation. Everything from payments to now this, to the idea that there might have been a fund set aside for more payments when we don't even know if there was others in this. And it continues to be the discovery of, is there fire here, and are we going to find out? And I think that's what everybody is waiting on, whether or not Bob Mueller or other people involved in investigating this are going to discover whether there's fire here.
It's the constant drip, drip, drip. Okay, so we know from the poll numbers, though, that the Stormy Daniels story isn't moving the needle really at all. So as we continue to cover this, is it just noise, or do you think there are political repercussion for the president?
Well, I think what we're now in is this is like a trench warfare situation that we're in, where each side has lined up. It doesn't move more than an inch. Trump supporters don't seem to adjust at all in this. And the amazing part of this is the evangelical support has actually risen in this as these revelations have come out. His evangelical support has grown in this. And so I don't think anything is going to fundamentally change on this politically until the legal consequences of this unfold, which is when Bob Mueller finally submits his report, what happens there, what happens in the Southern District of New York with the investigation there. and the midterm elections. Those three things are really, I think, at this point in time, the only things that can shake this fundamentally.
Before we let you go hunt for guacamole, I do want to ask...
And margaritas.
And margaritas.
And the Kentucky Derby. Are we going to...
It's
the
a
Kentucky
busy day
Derby
for you.
today. Yes,
it's a busy day. I want to ask...
We've gone to
if I can manage to steer it back to politics.
It is work.
I'm going to try to get it back to politics. Watch me do this. Tara Palmieri mentioned something. There's some great reporting by John Carl, who says that basically the president is gearing up for war with Robert Mueller, and you can whittle the strategy down to 3 words: fight, delay, vilify. Do you think this is likely to work?
You know, there's an old quote that says, if the facts are against you, pound the law. If the law is against you, pound the facts. And if the facts and the law are against you, pound the table and yell a lot. And I think we're in the pound the table and yell a lot strategy in the midst of this. I think the president knows he has no control over what happens and what we learn about the facts. He has no control fundamentally over what a judge is going to do or what prosecutors are going to do over the law. And the only thing he knows he can control is his reaction to what he views as his political opponent. So I think we're going to see more and more and more of this until finally the dam breaks and we learn the legal ramifications of all this from what somebody officially does. But you're going to see this is going to be a political argument until the legal consequences set in.
Interesting. Who you got at the Derby, since you mentioned
Justify to break the Apollo curse, which is not since 1882 has a horse won that didn't run as a 2-year-old, and Justify is one of those horses.
3.
Break the Apollo curse.
Love it. We'll catch up with you after the show for margaritas.
Political analysis and so much more. Whether you want it or not. Matthew Dowd.
We always want it. Thank you very much, Matt. And as we just mentioned, President Trump was in Dallas on Friday at an NRA convention, reaffirming his support for gun rights and supporting arming teachers to ensure school safety.
ABC's Victor Akendo is meanwhile at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida this morning. He's covering the reaction from the survivors of the massacre there. Victor, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan and Paula. We spoke with a parent of one of the victims who says that they really don't have a problem with what the president said to the NRA. He just wants to see safer schools. Meanwhile, for the students here at Stoneman Douglas, they have something else on their minds. Tonight is the senior prom.
Your Second Amendment rights are under siege, but they will never, ever be under siege as long as I'm your president.
In his nearly hour-long speech at the NRA convention in Dallas, President Trump again wading into the middle of the gun control debate, repeating his call to arm teachers in the wake of the Parkland shooting that left 17 dead.
They love their students, and they're not going to let anybody hurt their students.
The president says his administration is working to enhance early warning systems,
so that when the police are called, swift action is taken.
But no mention of his previous support for raising the minimum age to purchase certain firearms or expanded background checks. The president's words coming as family and friends of those Parkland victims continue to try and move forward.
Every day is a struggle. It hasn't gotten any easier in 3 months, and I don't expect it for the rest of my life.
Andrew Pollock's daughter, Meadow, was killed in the mass shooting. He's filed a wrongful death lawsuit against the school shooter, the school resource officer who allegedly didn't enter the building as the shooting unfolded, and several mental health institutes. Now he's working to ensure a tragedy like this doesn't happen again.
Whenever you bring up the gun word, if you have 100 people in a room, they're not going to agree on it. If you put 100 people in the room and I talk to them about school safety, we're most likely going to get 100 people saying, yes, let's do that for our kids and make the schools safe.
Meadow would have been going to prom tonight. Instead, the night will be dedicated to her and the other seniors who were killed. A video tribute and a moment of silence are planned.
I wasn't even really thinking I was still going to go to prom.
The night will be bittersweet. Stoneman Douglas students Victoria Gonzalez and Dylan McCooty will be celebrating without their best friend, Joaquin Oliver, who was also gunned down.
But I know he's proud right now of both of us on how we're both going to prom and we're gonna have a good time, just like he would.
And here are a few details that we've learned about prom. It will be held at the Westin Hotel in Fort Lauderdale. They are providing the ballroom, food, beverages, everything for free at an estimated value of $50,000. The general manager of the hotel tells me that they just wanted to create something special for these students to leave a lasting memory after what has been such a difficult year. Dan, Paula.
Victor, thank you. We appreciate your reporting this morning. We're going to move on now to the intense manhunt underway right now this morning after the shooting of an ATF officer.
Authorities say that officer was ambushed and shot in the face, and now they're combing through a Chicago neighborhood, searching for suspects. Will Carr is covering the story for us this morning. Will, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dan and Paula. The agent, part of a team sent in to crack down on guns and violence in Chicago when he was shot in a neighborhood overrun by gangs. This morning, a manhunt in Chicago. Local, state, and federal agencies working round the clock to find the suspect who shot a federal agent in the face.
We have shots fired. Did you get us some units over here?
The ATF agent working as part of a new federal gun strike force with local and state authorities when shots rang out.
I need to escort you to a hospital right now. Officer hit. We need to escort you to a hospital now.
Officers swarming the Southside neighborhood, residents watching the heavily armed agents, K-9 units, and dozens of officers spreading out, seizing evidence.
Agents were in the neighborhood of the back of the yards, conducting their investigation and doing what they do every day in protecting our community when they were ambushed.
The agent rushed to the hospital, but miraculously in stable condition. The ATF says strike force teams have been targeting gangs trafficking illegal guns in the neighborhood. The agent, now the fourth member of law enforcement to be shot in the area in the past year.
Do you think that escapes us? Because it doesn't. But I got a message for them. We're coming for you.
A reward now more than $60,000 being offered this morning for information that leads to an arrest.
We will find you. We will knock on every door, talk to every witness, watch every piece of video, and analyze every piece of evidence. Believe me, you will not get away with this.
Authorities say the neighborhood where the shooting took place will remain on lockdown while the search continues. As for the agent, he's expected to make a full recovery. So, Dan and Paul, it looks like it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's doing well this morning. I'm happy to hear that.
And we want to say welcome to the ABC News and GMA family.
Well, thank you so much.
You just joined us from Fox News Channel. You're going to be an LA-based correspondent.
That's right.
You're here in New York for a bit.
And it's a real pleasure to be here and work with the best in the business.
Who are you talking about?
Pretty much everybody at this table. Everybody at this table.
He was looking at me.
Yeah, you were making direct
I was
contact.
locked in on just about everybody.
I don't think he was looking at you or I.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Great
Great
to have you. Speaking of somebody who's not a new face, is a beloved face who's been around for a while, Sam Champion. Good morning to you, sir.
Nice to be
What's
here.
happening?
And they've been holding the best in the business at the door downstairs, is what I'm told. So I have to do weather right now anyway. All right, let's get to the boards, and we'll start with some video out of Albany, New York. Why not? There were some storms in the area and a lot of wind damage. So here's the deal. Last night, 145 severe wind reports from Michigan to New York, all the way into New Hampshire, as this 5-day severe weather outbreak kind of squeezed into the Northland. And now we can call it practically over. And I want to show you why. There's not a big push to severe weather today, but there will be some storms as what's left of this low kind of swings through the middle of the country. Now, those of us who are Kentuckians are concerned about the Derby. It's a wet day there, and we'll watch that low that's bringing those showers squeeze all the way to the coastline. If there's going to be severe weather, it's right here in the Carolina coastline where all this lights up a little bit later on in the evening hour, so we'll watch that carefully. Then that low moves away. What we get to is a little brief cool down from the Great Lakes in New England, just a few days, but a nice mild layer of temperatures for most of the country, and it's not bad weather at all. That's the weather around the nation. Here's what you can expect this morning.
On and off showers this morning and mostly cloudy skies, and that's really what we can expect for the remainder of today. Temperature-wise, feeling much cooler compared to yesterday afternoon with those daytime highs in the low 70s. It looks like the heaviest period of rain coming late tonight, so as you head to the Capitals game, notice those temperatures in the mid-60s. After the game, that's when the rain looks to increase, so make sure you have the rain gear on hand. A quick look at our extended forecast. On and off showers tomorrow with temperatures in the 60s. We clear out early week.
Come back, we'll talk about the West. Some big heat building in the Southwest, some of the warmest temperatures of the year so far expected.
It's been nice, I have to tell you. It's been nice to actually feel like it's spring, kind of leapfrog to summer, but winter
We'll take it
is
any
not
way
here
we can
anymore.
get it.
Yeah.
Ron, let's check in with you. What else is going on today?
Good morning to you, Paula.
Good morning to you.
Dan, Adrian, and Sam.
Good morning,
everyone. We're going to begin in Connecticut with a stunning reversal. The state Supreme Court in that state vacating Michael Skakel's murder conviction. That same court had reinstated Skakel's conviction in 2016 after a lower court ordered a new trial. The court ruling on Friday that Skakel's attorney had failed to identify an alibi witness, depriving Skakel of a fair trial. Skakel, the nephew of Ethel Kennedy, was found guilty in 2002 of bludgeoning Martha Moxley with a golf club in Greenwich, Connecticut in 1975. In Los Angeles, protests over the federal government's decision to end special immigration rights, allowing Hondurans to stay in the U.S. ever since Hurricane Mitch, devastated that country in 1998. About 57,000 Hondurans now have until January 2020 to either find a way to gain legal status in this country or leave the U.S. The U.S. also has recently taken special immigration status away from immigrants from 5 other countries. And in Texas, former President George H.W. Bush has been released from a Houston hospital where he had spent the last 13 days for treatment of a blood